Hello everyone, this is Crystal Wildfire Anthony with another episode of Spreading Like Wildfire here on MSTV. So what I want to talk about today is something I've seen on social media, especially Instagram a lot lately, and that is Martyn Ford. He of course is the big rep from 5% Nutrition. I'd like to start off by saying I don't represent 5% Nutrition. I don't know Martyn Ford other than the few posts that I have seen following him on Instagram. I've actually never bought a 5% nutrition product, so I have nothing to gain from 5% nutrition in making this video at all whatsoever. So I just want to put that out there and make that very, very clear. But I did notice that he had posted not too long ago about being very, very sick, that he was in the States. He thought he had ate some really bad eggs. He was vomiting nonstop, had stomach pain, got back to the UK and got home. And the next picture that I saw was him with a tube in his nose, which is called an NG tube, nasogastric, naso into your gastric, into your stomach. He has an NG tube in. Now, as a nurse, for those of you who don't know, I've been a nurse for pushing 20 years now. So as a nurse looking at that, my instant first thought was that he had some sort of bowel obstruction. Because as soon as we find somebody with a bowel obstruction in the emergency room where I work, the first thing that we do is put in an NG tube exactly like what he had. And that goes in through the nose, down into the stomach, and sucks out all the stomach contents. Because a lot of the pain that those people are having comes from your stomach still making all that gastric juice and still trying to digest it, but it can get nowhere. And so it's extremely painful. It makes you very sick. It makes you vomit nonstop. So that NG tube is the first thing we put down when we find a blockage of any kind. And of course, I noticed a lot of people making negative comments, as always, because you people just can't keep your fucking mouths shut if you have nothing nice to say. But anyway, they're all talking about how, well, that's what you get for taking steroids, and that's what you get for injecting shit in your body, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, like I said, I watched a couple more of Martyn Ford's posts. Sure enough, when he was a baby, he had what's called an intussusception. That is basically where, look it up, Google it, Google intussusception, happens to a lot of babies. The intestines will telescope into itself. So he had to have a surgery as a baby to fix that. Now, what happens if you have any abdominal surgery, and this is something that if any of you have ever had any abdominal surgery, you do need to watch out for. You will build up scar tissue, and you will build up what's called adhesions. Again, if you don't know what adhesions are, Google is your friend. So you'll build up scar tissue, you'll build up adhesions, and those can build over time and can still show themselves like his 30 years later. What happens is that scar tissue grew, adhesions happened, and it ends up pinching off part of his intestines. So, again, for any of you that have ever had any abdominal surgery, make sure that you keep that in mind if you're ever having extreme abdominal pain later in life. It can always be an adhesion causing a bowel obstruction. So then you have a bowel obstruction. If you don't catch it fast enough, he thought he'd ate bad eggs, so he did not catch it very quickly. Sometimes you have to have a section of your stomach, of your intestines, sorry, not stomach, a section of your intestines cut out because it dies off. It becomes necrotic. So I believe he said he had, was it 12 inches? I'm going off memory, that could be wrong. He had some of the bowel removed, had it all put back together. Lo and behold, it works again as soon as you remove the blockage and remove the scar tissue. Now, of course, him vomiting like he was and not being able to keep anything down for several weeks while he was here in the States. And then I guarantee you he was allowed to eat nothing. And I don't care what you people think about, well, he gets IV fluids or he gets calories in his IV or whatever. That stuff does not maintain even like a 150-pound person. I don't know what you think that we put in IVs in the hospital, but it definitely is not really anything to maintain a 150-pound person even, let alone a 200-plus pound muscular man. So he is going to lose a ton of weight. I'm sure even going home, he's probably still eating very small amounts of either liquid or very soft foods, and that is going to be for a very long time. So, of course, he looks like he has lost a ton of weight if you look at his face. I haven't seen his body, but I guarantee you he has probably lost a ton of weight. First of all, because of just the calorie deficit from vomiting for so long, nothing getting digested, and then the surgery and not being allowed to eat for so long. But second of all, for those of you that get ready for competitions, you know that so much of your muscle mass is built up of Water. So if you're not getting enough fluid, or if you're not getting those carbs, what happens when you go flat? You guys are always talking about, oh, I'm flat. I look small because I'm flat. And you're still eating and drinking normal foods, but maybe you've cut back on your carbs a little bit, so now you look flat. So now take a guy that's been puking his guts up for weeks, has had an NG tube sucking everything out, nothing to eat for, I guarantee you, days and days and days, and then when he is allowed to eat, it's very small amounts. Of course, he's A, lost a ton of weight, and B, what muscle he does have is going to be flat as fuck. He's going to shrink up. Now, does that have anything to do with steroids? Absolutely not. There is no way, shape, or form that anybody with any real medical knowledge can even twist this to make this into steroids. It has absolutely nothing to do with steroids. It doesn't matter if he was eating handfuls of D-ball for breakfast. That has nothing to do with scar tissue causing a bowel obstruction. Absolutely, it really doesn't. There's no way, like I said, anybody with real medical knowledge and half a brain, you can't twist it, you can't make it into something that it's not. It's something that I've seen happen to little old ladies and men. I've seen it happen to young people. I've seen it happen to middle-aged people. I've seen it happen to sick people, healthy people, active people. I've seen this hundreds of times. And every part of his story fits up with exactly what he is saying, and what I see as a nurse in the pictures and the posts. It all makes sense. This man had a surgery as an infant, or as a child, baby, and it caused scar tissue to build up, cut off part of his intestines. He vomits and is in a lot of pain. They finally find it. They sink an NG tube in to try and take away some of that pressure and that pain, do surgery to release the pressure, to get rid of the adhesions and the scar tissue, and to cut out any bad bowel, stitch him all back together, and then send him out with, like I said, a very small, bland, liquid, and soft diet. It's going to be a while before he bounces back and gets his size back. But what I would love is for you, I don't know where you guys get your information. If you Google WebMD, or if you just make shit up. It looks like WebMD isn't even this far off. You guys have got to be just sitting at home making shit up, which just astounds me that there's that much ignorance out there. But let's say that you really, really think that it is the steroids that did it. Again, I still do not understand why you need to sit there and on someone's post where the man could have died. If he had ruptured his bowels somewhere in there from that bowel obstruction and it had ruptured, I've seen it kill people. Healthy people, I've seen a bowel obstruction go wrong and rupture and kill them. So this man could have died. He's got his wife, he's got his little kids, and you guys are being assholes on social media talking about it was steroids and maybe you shouldn't inject shit. How about you guys just don't be assholes? I know it's very, very difficult for some of you. I don't understand why, but for some of you, it's really, really difficult to not be an asshole. I think that maybe you didn't get enough attention as a child. You didn't get good attention or bad attention. You got no attention at all. So you really don't care that you're out there spewing shit and people are yelling back at you. You even like the negative attention because, I don't know, mommy didn't spank you enough as a child or something. I have no idea what it is. But just my 2 cents worth as far as Martyn Ford and everything that went on for him health-wise, that's my 2 cents. Exactly what he's saying makes complete sense from a medical standpoint. And like I said, I wish to God that some of you guys would just grow the fuck up and stop saying negative shit on people's posts. Just keep it to yourself. And as for Martyn Ford, I hope that everything got fixed properly. Everything's going well for you. You look like, you're on the mend. I hope everything heals up fast and you get to feeling great here really, really soon. But other than that, guys, that is it for another episode of Spreading Like Wildfire here on Muscle Sport TV. Make sure you give me your comments down below, because God knows I'm going to hear it from the haters. So you may as well just tell me what you think down there. Or come find me on social media and make your negative comments, because I really don't give a rat's ass. So, as always, thanks, guys.